Okay, hi my lovely year 10s. I hope you're well and you are staying indoors. So as promised to you, we will be doing our practicals at home. No excuse from getting away from learning. Anyway, so we're going to do the banana chocolate chip pudding with toffee sauce. Now, just as in school, I want you to organize yourselves, get all the ingredients weighed out first before you start. Get your oven on preheated because that's important. Get your dishes that you're going to be baking in greased and floured, just like the way we've taught you. So for example, I'm going to be using these little ramekins dishes here, and what I need you to do, whatever you are, I'm going to make individual ones because it's just my husband and myself, and realistically he eats all the puddings, not really me. So just grease it with your finger, yeah, and then flour. I'll show you now. Flour, and just tap it round just like we do, all the way around, and just make sure that it's covered, and the excess you just tap it out. All right, so I've gotten all of my ingredients ready. We're going to be using the creaming method. Oh, I forgot to mention about the temperature for the oven. So you need 150 165 degrees for your oven. I would say a gas mark of 3.5, 4, depending on how your oven actually operates. Okay, but I would say cook it slow, cook it low. So 150 is very good, and that way you won't burn it. All right. For testing, as usual, if you've got one of these, a cake tester, put it straight into the middle, just to make sure once it comes out clean, it is cooked all the way through, and you're not sticking your spoon into batter. Okay, so let's go. So we're going to be using the creaming method, and as if you remember, the creaming method is creaming the butter and the sugar together. Now, in my mixer here, I'm going to try and maneuver this here. In my mixer, I already have my ingredients, and I'm going to use the whisking method. You don't necessarily need to see me, you really need to see this. Okay, and I'm going to do this as quickly as possible. Providing everything is all ready, you can get this done relatively quickly. Make sure your butter is at room temperature and you are using caster sugar, okay? Because the grains are finer and it will soften down a lot more quickly than using granulated, okay? Also with the granulated, what happens is that it becomes greasy for the end product, for the sponge or the cake or whatever you make it. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit more. Now, while that's doing, as I said, if you haven't weighed out all the ingredients, now's the time to do this. If you haven't got a mixer or you have a handheld, that's perfectly fine. Use the old-fashioned style, which is manual. So, a wooden spoon and a nice big bowl. As long as the butter is at room temperature, it will work for you quite quickly. Okay? And I'm going to lift that up a bit so that you can see me. Hello. And if you haven't got plain flour and baking powder, self-raising is just fine. Don't stress yourself about it. Okay. Important thing to mention about your banana, because obviously it's a banana pudding with chocolate chips in it. Make sure it's nice and ripe. So if your bananas are not ready, don't rush to do the cake. You've got a week to do it. Even after that, don't stress yourself. Okay. And we just need it to be into chunky pieces. So I'm going to do mine very quickly here while that is carrying on. So your recipe calls for 2 bananas, and I will just use a fork and mash it down. Now, the softer the bananas, the better the flavor. All right. So even if your bananas has gone black on the skin, don't worry about it. That's the best time the banana is ready to be used, okay? Now, I particularly like it a little bit more chunky. I don't necessarily like the bananas to be all mushy and soft. But again, it's personal preference. But I like my bananas a little bit chunky if I'm going to have it in a pudding. So I'll show you what I've done with this so that you have a clear idea of what I want you to do. Okay, that's what it looks like. I hope you can see much more clearly. So I think this is ready. I'm just going to stop it and check it and see that you can see what it actually looks like. Now remember, we are aiming for a lovely, light, creamy consistency. Okay? Okay, I hope you can see that there. Just drop some. Hope you can see. Oh, that's better because the camera is right in the light. Okay, so lovely. Now remember, when you're creaming, the important thing here is to remove that yellowness from the butter. Okay, so when you're creaming the butter and sugar, ensure that the butter becomes white and it's no longer creamy yellow or just yellow in color, because that is telling you that I'm not ready. All right, it's simply saying I'm not ready. So just leave it, continue to whisk it until it comes back together in a nice light creamy consistency. Right, I'm going to stop now because I'm using the KitchenAid and it's relatively fast. I'm just going to add my eggs in straight away, and this is one of the things that cuts the labor out in making cakes. So I'm just going to crack them in, and I'm going to whisk it in very fast so that it doesn't become split. Now it's 3 eggs that you need. And really keep that going. Right, that's fine. And lift that up again. Now I'm going to remove the whisk now because I think I'm done with that. Alright, and I'm going to add in the batter paddle so that it can mix in the flour quite easily. Now when you're doing yours, if you haven't got the whisk, just use a wooden spoon, a metal spoon to actually fold the flour in. And as usual, you really need to remember to sieve your flour. Now remember I said I am using self-raising because it already has the baking powder inclusive of it, and so there's no need to add any more baking powder. Alright, so I'm going to add that in now. It's already sifted.